Hey guys, welcome to Reddit Brew. Today, I will be reading from the r/EntitledPeople subreddit, so let's jump into it. Entitled sister gets everything she wants. We are all adults. Entitled sister, 33, her hostile husband, and me, 31. 7 months ago, my entitled sister separated from her husband and needed a place to stay. I had recently bought a house and moved out of our old house and offered to sell her our old house for super cheap to help her out and give her a place to stay. She took the offer, moved her things in, and that was that. She ended up not even living there or making any payments, so I told her to get her things out of my house after about 3 months. I guess she figured since I was her sister, I would store her things for free. We were also selling her a vehicle, which she used for 6 months without making payments, that I eventually repossessed. She has a mindset that everyone is obligated to help her, that she can take advantage of people, and doesn't see anything wrong with doing so. I ended up trading the house for a vehicle with her husband instead. Title for title. Well, a couple months later, they get back together and move in together. Fine by me. I had the property deed drawn up, signed, and everything. They just had to turn it into the courthouse. They were also responsible for getting the bills transferred over to their names 2.5 months ago. Yesterday, I found out the heating bill was never transferred. It runs from October to May, so we received the bill for October yesterday. I tried to talk to them in person about it yesterday, but they would not answer their door. I'm convinced they knew it was me and purposely didn't answer. So, I left a note for them telling them they need to transfer the property ASAP and the heating bill, or I was going to have their propane tank, which was still being charged to me, pulled. Her husband texted me today, "The heat has been transferred, though it's none of your business, and when I get to transferring the deed, I'll get to it." It is technically my business, because I'm being charged for the propane and the property taxes. I am so tired of her getting everything she wants, expecting people to pay her bills, using my parents for money for drugs, and not taking any responsibility for things she needs to do herself. She's even got her husband being hostile towards us because she gives him the poor me attitude and makes us out to be the bad people, when all we tried to do was help her out. A month ago, she freaked out when I invited her ex-husband over to pick up things he needed for my nephews. She told her current husband we invited her ex over to gossip about her. So, her husband comes over, picks a fight in front of my young kids, and her ex-husband's kids, swinging punches at my husband. Yesterday, she messaged a friend of mine, who is not even a friend of hers, might I add, to see if she had any pills she could buy off my friend. I'm basically at my breaking point. I'm debating on skipping Thanksgiving because I don't feel comfortable being under the same roof as these two. I know it'll break my parents' hearts, but I don't want to risk a fight breaking out. Edit. All utilities are now out of my name and into theirs. Rewriting up deed to property to have them sign again and turning it in myself. Clearing up confusion. They own the house. I own the dirt beneath it until the deed gets filed. Stay away. Don't help them anymore. They don't appreciate it, so don't put yourself out. I just want the property and bills out of my name. Then I'll have nothing to do with them. Downside is, I live right across the street, but I can avoid them like the plague. No problem. It's just, this upcoming Thanksgiving, I feel guilty for wanting to bail. The whole family was already falling apart after my brother died 4 years ago. But this is pretty much the straw that breaks the camel's back. Honestly, OP, it is not your responsibility to hold the family together. Cutting people off for your own well-being is necessary. I don't know the full story or family dynamic, but if the family is enabling the sister, which it sounds like they are, then that's on them. Sometimes, in order to cut off one toxic person, i.e. the sister in this case, Unfortunately, you have to cut an entire family off. And most of the time, the people that do this are the ones that get painted as the terrible, selfish one, when in reality, they're the ones that are the problem. But they never realize that, and that's why you don't have to feel bad. But I digress, I'm just rambling at this point. Let's move on to the next story. Jealous little sister tries to steal a baby name, it backfires, and she saddles her baby with a random name. Not my story, but I was reminded of it in another post. Thought I'd share the longer version. I posted it as a comment, and here is the full story, as relayed to me by Jane. This happened to a friend of mine, Jane. Her little sister Tina had a younger sibling chip on her shoulder, always trying to undermine Jane, outdo her in everything, and everything was a competition. You know the drill. Jane and her husband knew Tina would try to undermine her older sister whenever possible. They both got pregnant within the same year, with Tina months ahead of Jane. Jane/husband already had a beautiful name idea picked out to honor a teenage cousin who passed years before. And correctly guessed, Tina would try to steal it. Tina even asked if Jane ever had any names picked out, but strangely didn't have any ideas of her own. Jane suggested a few names, each met with the same answer. Are you planning on using that one? Tina finally asked point blank what name Jane was planning on using. Jane claimed not to have any idea. Jane and husband hatched a plan. The next time they got together, Jane told Tina they had decided on a name. They then dropped a decoy name, supposedly hubby's great-great-grandfather, who'd been killed at Gettysburg. It's worth mentioning, these people all live near Gettysburg and visited it several times. Dad was a little bit of a Civil War buff to boot. Not reenactment nut, but liked to read about it. Sure enough, Tina took the name when she had the first boy, telling them it was too good not to use. Jane and husband kept pleasant about the whole thing, and when their baby boy was born months after Tina's son, they gave him the originally planned name of Jane/Tina's cousin, who had died as a teenager, the first male-born child in the family. The family was touched, as the cousin who died was very beloved. Best of all, after Jane's baby was born/named, Tina tried to smugly apologize for stealing the name. Jane and husband just laughed and said that was another one of hubby's numerous dumb jokes. Hubby's family came here from Ireland in the 1920s, and great-great-granddad never even fought in the Civil War. LOL. I need to know how Tina reacted. According to Jane, Tina kept the kid's name. She did try to gaslight the whole affair, telling everyone it was the name they'd wanted all along. She had 2 more babies, but never did ask Jane about names for them. What I find funny is whenever Tina starts getting bitchy or obnoxious, Jane and husband would make a crack about great-great-grandpa or visiting his grave at Gettysburg. This is so funny because in the other story we read that was similar to this one, a lot of people in the comments suggested giving a decoy name. So it is absolutely hilarious to read a scenario where someone actually did this and it actually worked. How glorious and petty. I cannot believe people actually name their children out of spite instead of out of love. And these types of people, of course, should have never had kids in the first place, but they always do, and we know they do. Otherwise, we wouldn't have these stories. But anyways, that is all for me today. I hope you enjoyed those 2 entitled sister stories. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe. I truly appreciate when you do, and I will see you in the next Reddit story. Bye!